Graphing Systems of Equations by Justin D'Souza. This lesson has four objectives. They are to determine the number of solutions of a system of linear equations, solve systems of equations by graphing, then to solve linear equations by graphing, systems of equation. Basically, here you will have two graphs, and then use graphical calculators to solve systems of equations. Here, we can avoid graphing calculators and we can use scientific calculators itself to solve it. The key words of this lesson are system of equations, consistent, independent, dependent, inconsistent. We will come across all these words as we go on. The first concept is graphs of systems of equation. Now you have seen plenty of graphs. Let me just draw random graphs over here. Say this is one graph, and say imagine there are two parallel lines. This is one more graph. Now here you can see this graphs touch each other only at one point and they'll never touch each other. So at one point, yes, they are touching, but otherwise they won't touch each other, so they're independent. But you get a solution here. Say this is 2, 4. This is the solution, that is wherever they intersect each other. Now, whenever you have solutions in your graph, you call it consistent. Consistent. Whereas if you do not have solutions like this parallel line, because they will never touch each other, the parallel lines will never cross each other. Here there is no solution. No solution means it's inconsistent. Inconsistent. So you basically have no solution here. Now, this is about consistent and this is about inconsistent. I hope this is clear. If there are no ordered pairs that satisfies both the equations, they are inconsistent because you'll have no solutions. Whereas if you get at least one answer, then it's fine. It's consistent. But inconsistency, it is told at least one ordered pair. So there can be more as well. What if there are plenty? Then that will become dependent in the sense, imagine there is an equation of say 2x plus 3, okay, y is equal to 2x plus 3, and now the same equation I'll write one more equation, 4x plus 6. These two equations are equivalent to each other. Why? Because I've just multiplied 2 throughout and I got this. So basically if you graph these both, they are the same. Now they'll overlap each other. Sorry, it should not be wide apart. They should be touching each other. So imagine this, then the same thing overlaps. That means every single selected point is an intersection and they are dependent. That's basically it. So each and every point is a solution and they are dependent. So whenever you see only one solution, it's consistent but independent. Only one solution, independent. Whereas over here, it is dependent and consistent. I hope that clears these three concepts. Now then we will look into problems. Now we have over here graphs. They have given the equations. We need to tell whether it's consistent, inconsistent, and if it is consistent, it needs to be known that whether it's dependent or independent. Look over here, this touches only at one point, so easily you can tell it is independent and consistent. So the answer is consistent and independent. Over here, you can see there is no solution because they are parallel lines. You can see the slopes are same, but the intercepts are different. That means they're parallel line. They will never touch each other. There is no intersecting point, so there is no solution, and it is inconsistent. So no solution means inconsistent. There are two check problems. Do try solving them by yourself. You can pause the video now and try it. I hope you guys have tried it a bit. I mean, this is so easy. You have to try. You have to know the answer by now. This is inconsistent. This is consistent and dependent. Sorry, independent. There's only one solution. They're not dependent on each other. It's independent. My bad. So now we move on to the next type of problems where you've been given two equations. We need to know how many number of solutions are there. But this is in slope-intercept form. So how can you understand? Now there are few things you must just remember here. Whenever the slopes are same, 6x, 6x. Now what does it tell? The slope is same. And look at the intercept. Wait, let me write y is equal to mx plus b. This is the slope intercept form. Here y is a value, the y coordinate. X is x coordinate. M is the slope and b is the y intercept. Now here you can see this slopes are same. That means doesn't matter what, it will be parallel. Now it can even overlap, isn't it? It can be infinite solution. That means it's dependent. But let's see the intercepts. This means the graph over here, since it's positive slope, it's going upwards, but it starts at 10. If this is y of 10 value, it goes something like this. It'll be more steeper because it's 6, it goes something like this. Whereas this graph over here, it's at 4, so it'll be going something like this. And they'll never touch each other, they are parallel. Either front or behind, they will never cross each other. So that is inconsistent. Why? Because there is no solutions, right? They're parallel. That's the answer. Inconsistent is the solution. Over here now we have again two solutions. Now the best way to solve these is simplify both the equations. First, look at the slope. It doesn't seem that slope is the same because over here you might see, okay, 4 by 5, there is 4 and 5. No, but if you divide throughout by 4, you're going to get 5 by 4. The slopes are different. So what I'll do is, I'll try to get this in slope intercept form. The first one is already in slope intercept form. Y is equal to mx plus b. Now this one, all I do is I'll divide throughout by 4. So it'll be 4y by 4 minus 5x by 4 equals 9 by 4. And let me take x to the other side. Here 4 cancels. It'll be y equals plus, when it moves to the other side, 5 by 4x plus 9 by 4. And the other equation was y is equal to 4 by 5 x minus 2. The intercepts are different, the slopes are different, and they are not equal to each other. These are not equivalent equation. They are not having same slopes, so it can't be inconsistent. There is solution and there is only one solution because they're not the same equations. They'll be crossing each other somewhere, so this will be consistent and independent solution because the lines will only touch at one point. Okay, you just have to tell number of solutions, so it's one solution, that's it. Over here, no solutions, the previous one, because it was parallel. Now then again, number of solutions, but now we have the standard form. And now I will teach you a calculator method as well. See, there are plenty of ways you can stick to the same method what we just now did. You can get everything into slope intercept form, y is equal to mx plus b, and simplify it. Now if you're getting both the equations as same, when you simplify them they're equal equations, then hold on, that is same equation. That means it's dependent. Okay, if there are both same equations. I'll give you an example for that. If you have 2y equals 4x minus 9, okay, and over here we have y is equal to 2x minus 9 by 2 or 4.5. Now what is happening? I've just divided the above equation by 2. Over here it's y, here it's 2x, and 9 by 2 is basically 4.5. Now in such cases, these both are equivalent. If you graph them, it will be the same line. Okay, it should touch each other all the points. So that means it is dependent. So if you get everything in terms of slope intercept form and simplify them, if you how do you simplify? Just remove the common factor here, divide by 2, 2, 2, you will come to know they both are same equation. Then that's the answer. If no, then check for the slopes. Okay, imagine they have same slopes like 3x minus 3, y is equal to, and y is equal to 3x minus 5. Now here, okay, this is good. This is also good because it's same slopes, but over here you can see the intercepts are different. That means they are parallel lines, they will never touch each other. One is starting over here, one more is over here, they'll never touch. That means it's inconsistent. And if both of these doesn't work like the last problem, then it is independent. That's it. So this is how we can solve any problem. But now on, I'll go with shortcut methods. Here you have standard form. Even any equation, even if it's slope intercept form, you can write in standard form. Standard can be written other way around. Now, when in such cases, take out your calculators and let's press more. These are equations, they're simultaneous equations. Two equations are there. So let's see, after pressing more, you need to press 5 for equation. And now here, which resembles this? Is it the last option, cubic? No, there's no cube. Is it option number 3? No, there is no square. Now here, option number 2 is x, y, and z. There must be 3 dimensions or 3 variables. No, there is just 2 variables over here. So that means it's the number 1. It's x and y and a constant n. Let's press 1. And you can fill in the values now. But before you fill, make sure both the equations are absolutely in standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. Now you can see over here when you go to mode phi and mode phi. In the first equation, this an is just a number. That's ignore that. It is ax plus by equals c. This is the standard form. So when I click on 1, now they're asking you the values of a only. So what do you do over here is, look at this. It's first must be written as x terms over here. It will be minus 6, then plus 4y equals 16, whereas the next one is 9x minus 6y equals minus 24. So these are the two simultaneous equations. Now just substitute the values as they are. You can start with any equation. If you're starting with this equation as 1, make sure this is A, B, and C. Write it accordingly in this particular row itself. So this is the column. Row, sorry. Now then, I'll substitute the values. It's minus 6, 4, and 16. Now, if you had gone back, when you go to mode phi, you will realize this is the equation. Equals to must be aside. The numbers must be aside. Don't change the sign anywhere. Get everything in terms of ax plus by equals c and type them out. Now, that's done. Now, what's the next one? Here we have 9 minus 6 minus 24. And now there's infinite solutions. So now thing is, this is a computer simulation. You will get infinite solution. Some graphing calculators or very high-tech calculators will give you infinite solution. But the normal, the one which we use generally in our high schools, FX911 ES Plus, will not give you infinite solution. It just tells you math error. And that means it can be two possible answers. Whenever you get this error, there are two possible solutions for that. It's either infinite solutions, infinite. That means what is infinite solution? Does that mean it's dependent? It's dependent, or there can be no solutions. That means it's inconsistent. Now, if your calculator is giving you the answer directly, it's well and good, your answer is done. That's it. But if not, then I will tell you. Now you will get math error, right? Math error in your calculator. Here, what we need to do is write these equations again, write them properly in the standard form itself. No need to take them to slope-intercept form. Standard form would be minus 6x plus 4y equals 16. And the next equation was 9x minus 6y equals minus 24. Now, our goal is very simple. Look at the first term, that is the coefficient of x. Just make both these coefficients equal. Ignore all the other things. That will fall in its place by itself. Just make sure you're making this equal to this. That's it. How do you do that is, you have minus 6, right? You need to multiply that with some number to get how much? 9. How much is it? So this sum number is basically 9 multiplication. This goes down, it will be minus 6. So it will be minus 3 by 2. Now, if you consider this sum number as x, over here we would get x is equal to negative 3 by 2. But I'm not writing x since we have x and y. So this sum number, unknown number, is basically negative 3 by 2. So all you do is minus negative 3 by 2 is multiplied throughout. Now we know when you multiply negative 3 by 2, it must be 9. That's how we got it already. So the first term is equated. Be careful with the next terms. Minus and plus becomes minus. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Why? What's the last term? Here 2 again divide once, and over here it's 8. 8 3s are 24, and it's minus 24. Now compare these two equations. They are literally the same equations. That means you will get infinite solutions. Whereas if you had the slope same and these numbers were not matching, then it would be inconsistent. So this is it. When you have two equations, simultaneous equations, and your calculator is giving you math error, if your calculator will not differentiate between infinite and no solutions, it's giving a math error, then you need to do this. Write both the equations in standard form. And what you do is look into the first coefficient of x. Whatever is that, match them up. I took this easy way, or you can just multiply here 9 into 2 by thirds and you will get minus 6. Anyhow, it's possible. Just match both these two terms. When you do these two terms, all the other terms falls in place by itself. If entire equations are equal, then we have dependent in this case. Otherwise, we would have, inconsistent. So here it is dependent and there are infinite solutions. So over here, this is also possible. Now, this one is by changing to slope intercept form. You can go with this. We have done this in the previous problem, example 3, the same method. You can apply that same way. But over here, in such cases, calculator method can be used. So therefore, I told you another method. And over here, you can see this is having infinitely many solutions, so it's dependent. Now, what about this? Let's quickly try in the calculators first. Here we can just press on, it will be on the same mode. Now 4 minus 8 and 16. The next equation is 6 minus 12 and 5. Now here again we are getting no solution. That means it's parallel. Now if your calculator doesn't give you this answer directly, like how it is showing it to me, then what you do is basically solve it up. How do we solve it? Write them out. Let me just do this. Over here, all you need to do is, both are in standard forms itself, so it's fine is equal to 16, and then 6x minus 12y is equal to 5. Just one step. Get this to become 6. So what do you have to multiply to 4 to become 6? It will be 6 by 4. Or this is 3 by 2. That's it. Now I multiply this throughout by 3 by 2. And over here you'll get 6x. And what happens over here is you will be 4 times 3. It will be minus 12y. And over here it will be 8 times 3 is 24. Now look here. This is equal. Slopes are equal. Why this is also equal? But, sorry, this is not the slope. The coefficients. Both the coefficients are equal. But these two are not same. That means when you simplify this in y slope intercept form, you will get the slopes, but these two intercepts will be different. So basically, this is having the same slope, and many things are same, but they are not the same equations because the intercepts change, and therefore you can tell it's inconsistent. There will be no solution for this. Okay, you can directly jump to no solution. Or from here, you can see the previous problem, it was the entirely same equation throughout, but here these numbers are different. If these numbers are different, then the intercepts will be different, and they are parallel lines basically. Now we will go to the next topic. It's by graphing, solving by graphing. Now you can see over here, whenever you have equations, you can graph them. And wherever they intersect, the point where they touch each other, that is the solution. That's it. So let's see one of the problem. Over here, it's basically you need to graph. That's it. That's y-intercept. Now I will just draw rough graphs, but we have done graphing before. So here it's -2. That means the intercept, the slope is downwards, and this is 14. So somewhere over here 14, and it's going like this down. Okay, that's so true. Somewhere like that. Approximate. And over here we have 3/5. That means the slope is positive, and it is 0.6. It's not 1. It's less than 1. It's flattened, and it's from here somewhere. So it'll be something like this. So there is an intersection point. Now, number of solution, just and determine the coordinates. Okay, the solutions are how many? It's one solution. Okay, not bad. My graphs not that great because I've tried my best, but you can see this is one solution. It's approximately true. So one solution, and these are dependent. Sorry, they are independent. But how do you find this coordinate, the solution of this? Now we use the calculator for this because it's very hard to determine it takes a long time to graph it accurately and find the exact answer. So what I would suggest is, just for graphing, you can just take approximate graphs, and what you do is just solve these equations. How do you solve? Make sure you get them in the standard form. X and y together, it'll be 2x plus y equals 14, and over here -3/5x plus y equals 1. Now take out your calculators and we will solve it. Here, if I just press on, the mode remains, and then all I do is substitute the values 2, 1 and 14 here, and it's -3/5, that's 0.6, and 1 and 1. What is the solution? It's x is 5 and y is 4. So the solution is here 5, 4. This is from graphing. Graphing, we knew that it's going to be somewhere like that. But that's the answer. See, that's the solution. Same thing over here. You can just see the graphs. You can get it in the slope intercept form and approximate the graph. You have done graphing many times before, so please make sure you know how to graph. If need be, you can follow that. Otherwise, I would suggest just do this method, which is very easy. Just substitute the coordinate, the x and a, b, c values from the two equations. Here it's 10, 1, -5, and lastly -10. And the answer is 0 and 2. So the solution must be 0 and 2. This is the thing. Now we will go on to graph and solve. Okay, it's the same thing basically. Now again, I will skip the graphing part and I'll just do the problems directly over here. It's -3. I mean, the concept remains just the same concept in different problems. Here it's 6. And there's one thing which you must always remember, because students get confused over here. In questions, sometimes the first term will be y, x equals 12, and then 6x minus 4y equals 8. Just make sure you look at this carefully. If it's not x first and y second, rearrange it and write it accordingly in the standard form, and then input the values. Now, once you do it, here we have got no solutions. That means the lines are parallel. We have solved how to solve no solution problem. Just make sure the coefficients over here of the first terms of x match each other. So here what you need to do is, say, I'll just show you what you need to multiply. It's very simple. See, what do you have to multiply to 3 to get 6? -3, what needs to be multiplied to it to get 6? It's a very simple one, right? 3 times 2 is 6, isn't it? So, but just the sign is a problem. So divide by -3, be -2. That's it. So multiply throughout, and then you will see the first two terms will be the same, but the last terms are different. Therefore, there is no solution. And if you graph them, you'll come to know they are parallel lines. Here we have a real world problem that is about population. China and India are two most populous countries in the world. The population of these countries have increased steadily in recent years. In 2010, China and India had populations of about 1.34 billion and 1.19 billion, respectively. By 2016, they became 1.38 and 1.29. You can see the growth rate in India was very high. That's crazy. 100,000, I mean, 100 millions just got increased like that. And you can see that 1.29 billion in India. Predict the approximate year when the population of the two countries will be the same. See, now this is old data, but in fact, in the year 2023, in the middle, maybe June, July, I think so, India crossed the population, of China. Let's see what's the answer in this. Let's just peep into the answer first. Um, okay, when will they have same population? They are telling it's in 2025. Now, this is the flaws in what we do, because see, population is something we cannot accurately predict. In this study, based on this analysis, if we draw graphs and everything, we are going to get around 2025. But in 2023, June, July, they already equated. Both became same and now they're exceeding. It's about 1.44 billion, I believe. I'm not sure about the value, but somewhere around 1.44 billion. So you can see the population is increasing, not as you can predict, but it's in a different rate. Anyways, now we will see over here. This is about, you can go through this exactly explaining this task. We will directly solve this. How can you solve it? Obviously, we need the equations to solve them. So how would you do that is, first find the slope. Now here we have, let me just change the color, this as x1 for this x1, okay? Oh, that is the year. And then x2, this is also x2. But what about the population? This will be y1 at this year, y2. y1, y2. So you will have two different slopes, and one equation will be for China, one will be for India. So now what we do is we will write the slope m equals y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. We have done this before in the previous lessons. I hope this is fresh in your mind. Now, m equals, what is y2 value? y2 is 1.38 minus, what is y1? 1.34 divided by 2016. I'll just take it as 16 minus 10. Okay. Just put this values in calculator, because 2006 anyways it's going to be the same. It's the difference over there is 6. So let's use our calculators. Here now we have to go out of this mode, so we can press mode and computation mode 1. 1.38 minus 1.34 divided by 16 minus 10, that is 6. What happens? The slope is, let's write it as 1 by 150. I think so it's written, okay, yeah. Okay, it's 1 by 150. Same thing do for the next one, that is for the population in India. I shouldn't have removed it because the denominator is the same, but anyways, we will write it afresh. 1.29 minus 1.19 divided by 6. The answer is 1 by 60 for India. This is the slopes, the rate of change. Now then we write the equation. Now when we write the equation for such problems, please remember, whatever is the latest value, you start from there. Okay. Now what is the latest value? Over here it's 16, right? You consider 16 as 0. In the sense, this is your y-intercept. Let me just show you what exactly I mean. Now how do you find the y-intercept? In the equation, y is equal to mx plus b. We have done this as well in the previous lessons. You can see that y, you need to just choose x and y value. But remember, for this, choose this 2016 as the initial point. This is the 0. When we graph it, we consider, that's a crooked line. Okay, now here this will be 0, but that is from 2016 we are considering the last value, okay? When we are graphing, 0x is 0, but that means it's 2016. I hope this is clear. So this is x value. What is y value? This is 1.38. Now if you substitute over here, y is 1.38 equals, what is m? M we found out was 1 by 150 multiplied with x is 0 plus b. What is the value of b? B will, this will be 0, right? It'll be 1.38. So these values, the last value which you have, the recent value, will be the intercepts. So the equation, once you find the slope, that is the average rate of change, it's very easy. It'll be y is equal to mx plus b. Here y is equal to m is 150 x plus 1.38. Now same thing over here, y is equal to 1 by 60 x plus 1.29. That's the answers. And then we got the two equations. Now here you can directly solve them. How would you solve them? Mod phi 1, and I will write the first equation. This must be in the other side. So I will do it directly over here. In exam, you don't need to write it again and again. You just have to move this to the other side. So in your mind, just understand this will be negative. Negative 1 divided by 150. And over here, what's the coefficient? It's 1. And lastly, we have 1.38. Now this one here, it will be negative 1 by 60. And then we have again 1. And lastly, we have 1.29. Sorry, 1.29. And the answers are 9. X is 9. Why we don't need it? I mean, it says that when both the populations reach 1.44, that is 1.44 billion, it's gonna break even. But the thing is, x value that we want, which year, that is what we are looking for. So here x is equal to 9. Is it 2009? No, but we started from this as 0, 2016 plus 9. What does that give us? It'll be 2025. That's the answer. So it tells us in the year 2025, both the countries will break even, in the sense they'll have equal populations. So here, if you graph it, you're going to get 9, that is in 2025. And you can check this answer. I can tell it's reasonable. If you do it in the calculator, you're going to get that. Okay. So now, sorry, I'll just tell you what they are telling over here. They're telling if you put this x value in both these equations, what's the answer you're going to get? You're going to get 1.44 in both the equation. That means x is the solution. That's it. 9 is the solution. But remember to add 9 to 2016. The answer is 2025. Now we have another similar problem just like the previous one, but over here it's about Olympics. It's about the... Yeah. So what you can do is you can pause this video and try it by yourselves, and then I will solve this up. I hope you tried. I hope you paused at least. Now we will try solving this one over here. The number of men and women participating in the Winter Olympic Games has been steadily increasing in recent years. In the 19th Winter Olympics, 1,389 men and 787 women participated, and 1,660 men and 1,121 women participated in the 22nd Olympics. Now here you know what is the x and y values, what slopes do you have to find. From this directly you can tell you need a equation for the 19th Olympics and the 20th Olympics, like from this and this. You need an equation for men and for women. Okay. Now these are the two Olympics. So this will be x1, x2. This is y1. And what is the men over here? Y2. Same way, this will be y1, y2 in terms of women. So first let's write men, women. Don't differentiate it with 90th and 20th. No, we are doing with men and women because that's what they want. Over here they want, write a graph system to describe the number of men and women participating. You basically have to get the equation and graph it. That's the main thing what they want. In the previous case, it was two countries, China and India. Now it's men and women. Now, what is the equation for the slope? M is equal to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. All you do over here is y2 is for men, that's 1660 minus 1389 divided by 22 minus 19, that's 3. Same thing with women, 1121 minus 787 divided by 3. And now just put them in the calculators and you will find the slopes for both of them. These are the rate of change. So 1660 minus 1389 divided by 3. The answer is 271 by 3. Let me just check the answer. Yes, that's the slope. And then the next one, just change the values over here. 1121 minus 787 divided by 3, and that's 334 by 3. So these are the solutions, the slopes. And I told you over here in the previous problem, the y-intercept is the latest value. That's the 22nd Winter Olympics. That is, for men it is 1660 and for women it is 1121. Now you have two equations, graph them up. That is the solution. Now here you can do more phi and 1 and solve these equations. What's the first one? 271 divided by 3. X value, but I have to change the sign. I forgot. It's minus. It's minus 271. Why? Because I have to write x first, then y. Okay, and this must be taken to the other side. It'll be minus 271 divided by 3. Then y is 1, and lastly we have the coefficient 1660. Same thing with the next line, will be minus 334 by 3 divided by 3. And what is the y value? It's 1 and 1121. The answer is 25.67. So okay, this is it for the part A. They have not asked anything else, but I'll just write 25.67 and I'll show you. In the next part, they're asking when will be the participation of men and women be the same. We have already 22 Olympics. That is the zero. That's where we started, right? So 22 plus whatever the answer you get, 25.67. That will be 47.67. You can't take it as a fraction, it's Olympics. It should be a whole number. So the nearest whole number is 48th Olympics. So from the graph, we can approximate it is during the 48th Winter Olympics that both men and women will be at the equal rate. Now, this can be approximate, this might be true, but I mean, it's not exactly true. It might vary because of various factors. Now, let me just go back to this example 7 about the populations. I told you the population became equal in the mid of 2023. But the answer over here is 2025. Why exactly? See, over here we are taking as a linear equation. The population is never ever a linear equation. It's an exponential equation. So this is important. Now, we will be studying exponential as we go on. For population and various other things, there are lots of factors that vary. So if you're taking this as a linear thing, it's obviously wrong. You will never get the accurate one. Now, even though we don't know the exact population, but we approximated because of various factors, the birth rate, the death rate, this, that, and then we give an approximate number, which is done by sophisticated softwares, And even though we know that India has crossed in 2023, mid of 2023, we are not accurate in the numbers, It's here and there, there will be some error, but approximately the overall figure is a more reasonable one. That's what we can say. And never from linear, it's always from exponential or other methods. And this was done. That was the 48th Winter Olympics. And now we move on to the topic of using systems to solve linear equations. Okay, this is basically using, write the system by setting each expression equal to y. Okay, this is basically by graphing calculator. I guess they have used a graphing calculator over here. But now I will tell you the easy method. See, they have given you a system of equation in the sense They're basically giving you a simple equation and they're asking you to solve x, which is very simple, isn't it? I'll just solve it over here. Take this 8 to the other side, it'll be minus 6x equals minus 8 minus 4 minus 6x equals minus 12 minus 6 to the other side will be minus 12 by minus 6. The answer is positive 2. And if you look over here, the final answer, the intersection is at 2. It's very simple. But the concept over here is they're trying to make use of graphing calculator with two equations. Now, what are the two equations? Whatever is at left side is one equation. Y is equal to minus 6x plus 8 and y is equal to minus 4. Two equations. Now, this equation, let me just draw a rough graph. That's a crooked line. Now, here, plus 8 is the intercept and minus 6 means it's going like this, something. Okay, and over here y is minus 4, right? So where is minus 4? Somewhere over here, minus 4. That's again another bad line. So this is the point of intersection. So it's approximately x, exactly it's at 2, but you can see approximately you can tell it's at 2. That's how we do it by graphing. See, these are the two lines and it touches over there. But you can easily solve them if you can easily solve them and get the x value as well. That's one more way. What about the next one? I mean, checking your solution, you can obviously solve them and find it's at x is equal to minus 4. Sorry, this is checking. Sorry, whatever the x value you got, we got x is equal to how much? 2. You substitute over here, it should be equal to the right side. Yes, both the sides are equal. Now over here, you can try graphing both these equations, or the easier way would be just put in the calculator and you'll get the answer. If you know graphing, you know this is the first equation. Graph this up, and wherever this intersects, that will be your solution. But I will now directly show you the answer in the calculator. All you do is substitute these two equations. Let's go to the mode over here, computing mode. 3.2 alpha x minus, okay, this is minus 5.8 equal to 2.8 alpha x plus 7. Shift and solve, and the answer is negative 2.13. Yeah, that goes on. So that's the answer. And now then again, we have same graphing technology again. We have to solve equations by using graphing technology, by graphing calculator, similar. Okay, now this is what we have done before as well. I've told this method already. So all you need to do is mode phi and 1, and now substitute the x, y, and the constants. Negative 1.38. See, there is lots of decimal numbers after decimal, so it's very complicated to solve it manually, if you're solving it using graphing. So it's much easier to solve it in the calculator. And over here it's minus 1, and lastly we have 5.13, and the next equation is 0.62, y is 2, and lastly we have 1.6, and the answer should be negative 2.51. Let's just check this. Yeah, that's the correct answers, 2.52 approximately, and then the first one was negative 5.54. That's it. Or you can do it in graphing calculator as well. Now this one, I'll just tell you, you can even choose this second equation as equation 1. It'll be the same answer. Let me do over here. 4.16 equals 1.11 equals 4.72. And now the next equation, the top equation, I'll write it below over here. 2.29 minus 4.41, and lastly we have 6.52. Okay, and the answer is 1.34 and negative 0.78. I'm missing the negative sign, I'm sorry for that. It should be minus over here. Okay, I only did these notes and I just missed it. Sorry for that. Anyways, I realize it now. It's a minus sign over there. Only thing you need to remember is when you substitute, make sure if you're using this equation, first substitute the x coefficient, then the y coefficient, and then the constant. Same thing here. The first the x coefficient, then the y coefficient, and then the constant. The answer is 1.34, comma, minus 0.78. I'm sorry, I missed the minus sign. That's how we solve these problems. Now we have the last problem, that is another real world problem. Here, Denzel is starting a food truck business to sell gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches. He has spent $34,000 on the truck. Truck equipment, permits, and everything. So it's not only on the truck, all this is done. And other startup costs. So 34,000 is already done and invested. Each sandwich costs him about $1.32. Now, all the required instruments, everything is done, and then after that, whenever he makes one sandwich, it'll cost him $1.32. But he sells them for $7. Now, he has already invested 34,000. When will we start making a profit? When will Denzel make a profit? So to make a profit, first you need to cover up all this and whatever this goes on. When every time he sells, one sandwich, he will incur 1.35 cost, but he will make much more. So it's not just this profit; it is like after covering whatever he has spent, how much profit? When will he start making the profit? So for such problems, you need to understand and write the equation. Now, what is variable? What is changing throughout? Now, first thing is this does not change. 34,000 is constant rate. It's fixed. It's done. That's the intercept. Now, this will never change. But this one over here, 1.32, changes each time he sells a sandwich. So if I take X as a sandwich, then each time he sells one sandwich, that'll be 1.32. If it was two sandwiches, it'll be 2.64 and so on. What is the profit he's making? This is the cost, right? What is the profit? This will be equal to what? 7x, because each time for one sandwich, it is 7. So when will these both equal cost and profit? I mean selling. When will this be both be equal? That's what we need to solve. Okay? You can just put in the calculator now. Here, now what you can do is you can just type it out 1.32, or you can simply solve it as well. It's a simple equation. Plus 34,000 equals 7x. All you need to do is press shift and solve, and you will get the answer. It is when he sells nearly 6,000 sandwiches. You can see that. And 5,985.92. So when he sells so much, he's going to get how much money over here? When you graph it, or when you have done two equations and you put it, you will get the two answers. Now, I'm not getting the other answer. Why? Because I've taken it as simple equation, only the x value. Because over here they asked how many sandwiches to sell, right? This is the answer. But if you want to find how much money is making when he equates it, that is this money. How? You need to just put this as mod phi 1 and you can solve them. See, this is the first equation, this is the second equation. Both equated as y equals to. So all you do is put over here 1.32, it should be minus, and over here we have 1, and that is equal to 34,000. And what is over here? It is minus 7 when x goes to the other side, and y is 1. But there's nothing over here remaining, so it's 0. There is no constant value. And the answer of x will be 5,985.9. It's 5,986 sandwiches. And the money will be making after selling so many sandwiches is 41,901. So when he sells so many sandwiches, adding this cost for each sandwich and whatever he has spent will be 41,901. He breaks even. And after that, for each sandwich, he will be making a lot of profit, right? He'll be making nearly $5.7 for each sandwich he sells. He'll make $5.7. So that is about it. That's the end of this particular topic, this lesson. I hope you have found it helpful. Please do subscribe to my channel. That would mean so much to me. And do share it with your friends or anyone who might benefit from this. There are a lot of math videos. You can learn a lot of math from this channel. And if you have any doubts, any difficulties in any of the topics, please do post them in the comments and I'll try to get back to you very soon. See you all in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.